Good morning, guys, and welcome to the podcast from California. I have Emil Abedian, and he is a CPA, and he is the founder and CEO of Council CPAs and Advisors. It's a specialized law firm accountants. You're going to hear all about what they do, their why, how they help clients, and I'm really happy to have him on the podcast, his sponsored episode, and add value to the audience. So, Emil, welcome.
Thank you so much, Chris. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Briefly introduce yourself, your story, and then we'll dive into Council CPAs.
Yeah, absolutely. As you mentioned, Emil Abedian here. I'm a CPA. Been doing it for over 20 years, probably. Started my career back in Sweden, where I grew up,
Wow.
in Stockholm office. After I graduated from Uppsala University in Sweden, I moved to Stockholm and started working, as many other new graduates do, for a big four. Started at Ernst and Young in Stockholm. I was there for a few years before I decided to try my wings here in California and moved out to California in 2007
Yeah.
and got a job first at a firm, and then next thing let's leads next to next thing, and then here we are, 20 plus years after that.
Yeah. Yeah. I really love that. And we get a lot of entrepreneurs, founders, executives, a lot of CPAs, financial advisors. And so, for the audience, what is the distinguishing factor that clients come to you for either help or they have a pain, frustration? Why do they come to you?
Yeah. So we work only with law firms. That's our niche. I'm not always been in the law firm niche. Like I started initially when I started my firm, I was general practice. I was doing it for many other industries, but pretty soon, in order to kind of be able to help and provide value, I realized that I just don't want to be general practitioner. I want to be a specialist and do it well within one specific industry. So, and then the more time went and we niched down more and more towards lawyers until now, our firm is only working with lawyers. So we understand their issues. We talked to hundreds, if not thousands, of lawyers in the past, and we want to be there more than just a tax preparer or a bookkeeping firm and just do the day-to-day compliance work. We want to be able to provide value and help them. I think that's what sets us apart from other CPA firms.
Yeah. And you and me, we talked a little bit, and you talk about, the main idea is transforming your CPA relationship through strategic partnerships and boosting business growth. So talk about this idea and how it relates to your business and your company.
Yeah. And as I mentioned here, we want to be able to provide value and not only do compliance work for our clients, which means compliance work is basically tax return preparation, sales tax, payroll, things that you have to do as a business owner. But yeah, we're CPA firm, we have to do that. That's a portion of it. But the main important part, in my opinion, and what we are kind of preaching here at our firm is to build relationship with our client, understand their needs so we can help them with the growth, because we have so much financial information and knowledge that lawyers not all they don't always have it, and you can't blame them because they went to law school, they didn't went to business school. They know the law very well. Often our clients are really good attorneys. They're aggressive in the courtroom, they're good drafting agreements, they're good settlements, they're drafting agreements, but they're not great at accounting and understanding the numbers. That's why we want to come in as a firm and help them understand that, kind of give them a different kind of perspective of the operation.
Yeah. So the next question I have for you is what's interesting is a recent legal trends report revealed that 64% of law firms fear inadequate financial controls and strategies affecting their growth. So how do you work with law firms to help them course correct or install these controls and systems and processes?
I love that you bring this up, Chris, because that's a very common issue we face with new clients that we take on. Uh, you can be involved as much as you want, but if you don't have the data, if you don't have the basic numbers in place, You can't do anything. Like there's nothing I can do with false information and incorrect information. So did here at our firm to kind of change that model is that we don't take on a client just comes for us for just tax return preparation. We need to be able to do the bookkeeping for them. It sounds very basic. Bookkeeping, yeah, anybody can do bookkeeping, but it is not, as you just read from your trend report there. It's the majority of the firms do not have accurate and reliable financial data, which what happens is that you make your decisions based on false information. And I usually compare this to when you're trying to lose weight. If you don't know what your weight is today, how are you going to go to the weight you want to be? It's impossible. You need to know what your weight is today to be able to go to where you want to be. Same as accounting or business owner, law firm owners. You need to know where you are today. You need to understand your numbers. Okay, we know that these are our numbers, but we want to be here. So what steps do we need to take? So we help our firm owners to first of all get the numbers today. What are the numbers today? Accurate numbers. And then we help them set plans and goals to kind of reach where they want to be a year, 2 years, 5 years from now. So that's a very valid point you bring up, and it's a big problem, definitely.
Yeah, and it's quite surprising to me that you're talking about a number of law firms. They don't have the right systems and processes, and they don't have the correct numbers, and it's quite astounding. Um, the next question I have for you is, you help them understand these. You leverage strategic partnerships, and you help them to grow. What is the number one thing for law firms that is hindering their growth, and how do you help them?
I think the main problem I've been facing here throughout all these years I've been doing it is the mindset. As a professional, including CPAs, lawyers, doctors, dentists, architects, we're professionals. We go to a kind of a school, we become professionals, we're great at what we do, but our mindset is not in business. Like typically, we start working at a firm or at a practice. We get to know the trade in and out. We understand the really what it is to be a good lawyer. But nobody has taught us to think like a business owner, as an investor. So what happens when you open up your firm? The first thing you do is to serve your client, which is perfect. Obviously, if you can't serve your client, if you can't provide good service, then you're out of business from the get go.
Yeah.
But the switch you have to make to kind of start thinking as a business owner is what I'm seeing the biggest problem. It's a very small portion of new clients that we get that are actually thinking as a business owner and an investor, which is what we need to work with them. We're working with them all the time. So, okay, it's not only to provide your service, which is, yes, you need to provide great service, but you need to understand your numbers. You need to make steps. You need to make moves based on actual numbers and projections, looking at your KPIs. I don't know how many firms that come to us that really don't even know what a KPI is. Key performance indicator. You got to look at your numbers and to understand it to make smart decisions. A lot of times they just make decisions. I feel like I'm overwhelmed. Let's hire a person. Well, why are you overwhelmed? Maybe your systems are not right. Maybe it's not because of your manpower is too low. So I think to answer your question, the main issue I see is the switch from being a professional to a business owner.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And that's the number one thing I get is this idea from kind of your crafting your trade to the entrepreneur business owner mindset, which is a different skill. Um very specific to lawyers and law firms is sorry, IOLTA reconciliation. And for the audience that doesn't know, talk about how you help law firms with E IOLTA reconciliation and how it's relevant.
Yeah. So each state has its own regulation of how to maintain your IOLTA accounts. An IOLTA account is basically law firms have to maintain their clients' trust accounts. So it's not their money, it's their client's money sitting in a trust account, which they have to maintain and make sure they reconcile it regularly. Each state have its own regulation, but the general rule is the same. Money sitting in the IOLTA account, trust account, basically the same thing, does not belong to the law firm. And for that reason, you are required to keep track of every single cent that goes in and out, not only as a whole, but also per client. California, for example, as you mentioned, I'm from California here. There's a case recently with Tom Girardi, a very high end attorney. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he did a lot of incorrect things with his clients. He
Mm.
stole a lot of money, and California revamped their trust accounting rules, IOLTA account rules, significantly, which
Oh.
have put a lot of lawyers are worried that, you know, am I doing the right thing right now? I'm not trying to screw my clients. I'm not trying to do anything wrong, but
Mhm.
there's so many rules and regulations that they have to follow that they're accidentally making mistakes. So it's
Mhm.
very important for lawyers across the country, not only California, to make sure the IOLTA account is reconciled to the penny. They know exactly who paid them the money, where it went, and if the state bar requests a list, a ledger from you, you need to be able to provide them a ledger matching to the IOLTA bank account sitting there. So that's what we come in and help a lot of lawyers with, and make sure they are in compliance with not only IRS and the tax regulations, but also with state bar regulations with their state bar. So
Mhm. Yeah. And also another thing is specific to law firms is Clio setup and management. Discuss how your firm helps with that.
yeah, yeah, very good questions, Chris. I love it.
Yeah.
So Clio is a practice management software, probably the most known out there for lawyers and law firms. And we are Clio consultants, which means that we've gone through a significant amount of courses to learn the program, to be able to help our clients implement, but also maintain it. So we work with a lot of law firms that are using Clio. That's not the only practice management software we use for our clients, but that's a biggest software that we are using. So we help clients implement it and also maintain it. What does it mean to implement? Obviously, we got to set it up right, because you could buy the most perfect software out there. If you don't set it up correctly, it's a waste. It's like buying a Bentley but driving it like a Honda Civic. It's not gonna do any good for you. So we help them implement it, but also maintain it, which means we send out invoices. We're utilizing the management system. We set up systems for the client so we can regularly send up invoices for our clients and start collecting to improve their cash flow management. Because a lot of lawyers, so we typically work with solo and small law firms, anywhere to from 1 to 5 partners, anywhere from solo practitioners to probably 150, 200 employee firms are probably the largest one that we have.
Mhm.
And those are those partners are very busy running their practice. And what's happening is that they're often behind with their billing. They don't bill their services for months sometimes. That creates multiple issues from, first of all, cash flow perspective. You're not, if you don't bill, you're not going to get paid from your client. So that's one problem. But also, not only that, you delay collections, but you are increasing the risk for not collecting all of your invoices. Because if you invoice 3, 4, 5 months from now, your client will forget the value you provided, and they will
Mhm.
try to dispute your invoices more often than if you would invoice them as soon as the service is provided. So that's our goal, to help from Clio's perspective, to help our client implement it and maintain it so that invoices goes out regularly, to increase cash flow management.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, and these are for the audience. These are very specific to law firms, and especially for just practice. And so moving on, a lot of industries and professions. Medicine is one of those that's due for an upgrade, and one of those innovations is artificial intelligence. And so, what are your views on artificial intelligence? How is it helping the industry, and how are you using it to help further your clients?
Yeah. If you're ignoring AI right now, I think you're making a big mistake. uh, because it's coming, whether we want it or not. It's here, and it's just gonna get bigger, in my opinion. I don't think there's any stop to it. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, because it's just changing the way we're gonna do business. It's not gonna eliminate duties or tasks. Yeah, my role will change for sure with AI. My team's role will change. I will still need them, but I will need them to do more consultation, more client related work rather than data entry, which has already changed in the past several years. Like we're not doing as much data entry that we were doing 5 to 10 years ago. But what that does that it allows us to spend more time with the client, understand the client, and really provide them with what they need rather than just typing in numbers from bank statements or credit card statement. So I think if you're ignoring, it doesn't matter what industry you are. I don't think it matters at all. But if you're ignoring AI, I think you're making a big mistake because your competitors are not. They're not ignoring it.
Yeah. You mentioned this area of billing, and one of the trends in kind of the legal profession is this flat fee versus hourly fee. And so talk about just flat fee billing, AI efficiency, and why a lot of law firms are switching to flat fee billing.
Yeah, it's increasing significantly from several years ago, and like every year it's increasing. I
Mm.
implemented flat fee for my own firm, for my CPA firm, for years ago. I've been doing flat fee for past, I don't know, probably first couple of years that I started my practice. I did hourly billing, but we switched that over to flat fee billing immediately, and it's been the best thing ever. Because not only that, it creates kind of predictability. You know how much cash flow you're gonna have because it's regular flat fee coming in, but it creates so much better relationship with your clients. Like, because it's all open. I know for a fact, okay, Chris, I'm gonna provide you with this, this, and this, these three services for a flat fee of $10,000, let's say, for example. And you know exactly what I'm gonna provide you and exactly how much you're gonna pay me. You're not going to wait for or get a surprise bill of $15,000, $20,000 when the service is over, because we already agreed on the service or and services and the fee. But what happens when you don't have flat fee, first of all, is the client get surprise bills all the time, and the expectations are different. Like you don't expect it, and it creates a lot of tension between the client and the firm partners. So from that perspective, it's fantastic. And I don't know how many disputes I have had in the past 15 years. Probably one or two that clients have disputed it. Even that's been just nonsense because if you have an agreement, we agree on services, and so that rarely happens. But from that perspective, I think it's perfect. But also from firms' perspective, especially with AI coming in play here, is okay, if you are providing this service, these three services for $10,000, and you think that's going to take you, I don't know, 20 hours to do this work, but if you make it more efficient, if you utilize AI and do it in 15 hours instead. What does that mean? Then we have 5 extra hours. There's 25% of efficiency there that we can utilize to provide the client with additional value added service that the client was not expecting. So it just creates so much good energy in between the client and the firm and the employees, because now employees also know that, I have to finish it in 15, 20 hours, but let's come up with ways to finish it in 15 hours to create this efficiency. So I think with AI coming in play, flat fee billing is going to become even more important than in the past.
Mm,
Absolutely.
yeah. Um, we have around 5 minutes remaining, and so talk about some of the strategic partnerships you've formed, some of the clients you've helped, and then we'll. How can people contact you and find you and work with you?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So as you mentioned, we kind of create partnership with our client. We're not legally partners, but I want to be part of their operation. I want my team to be part of their operation. That's why we always bake in unlimited correspondence with our clients, like in all our packages, so they can call us anytime. Like we keep track of time, obviously, for our efficiency perspective, but we're not charging our clients extra just because they email us or call us or want to set up a Zoom meeting. And that's strategic, actually, because I want them to contact me. Because who
Yeah.
else would they contact if not their own CPA? Like their CPA is supposed to be part of their business, part of their operation, help them with the growth. So I want them to contact us. So we're the first line where something happens and we're aware of what's happening. So that's how we really work with our clients, with building partnerships. without really being partners, obviously, on legally. But clients that we work with, like as I mentioned, we probably work with anywhere from solo practitioners who just starting off. It's perfectly fine. That's actually a lot easier for us because we get to be with them from the beginning, help them set up systems and processes to make their streamline their operation, which is perfect. But also we work with firms in the biggest one is probably around 200 employees, which we are involved in a totally different way because they have their own the data entry is there, and they have more systems and processes in place than in a solo practitioner that's just starting up. We could be with them throughout the entire way. uh, where was I going with that? But the clients that we work, and we could do as little as doing the bookkeeping, tax planning, and tax preparation, and as much as really taking over their back office, doing their billing, helping them collect the bills they sent out, paying their bills, make sure their their employees are paid, they don't get any issues with that. So, and help them with cash flow management, help them understand their KPIs, key performance indicators, so they can make educated decisions, not only guesses. So that's how we work with our clients, Chris.
Yeah, excellent. How can people find you and learn more about you, connect with you, and work with you?
Best way, I'm on my email daily. As you know, as an entrepreneur, you got to be on your email nowadays, more important than the phone. So just email me directly if you have any questions. I answer all of my emails myself at Emil, my first name, Emil, at Council CPAs, plural, S at the end, councilcpas.com. Or just LinkedIn. I'm using my LinkedIn frequently. Also, just message me on LinkedIn, and we'll connect and set up a meeting. I would love to talk to you, see if we can help.
Excellent. I really enjoyed this talk and very informative for the audience. And keep up the great work.
Appreciate it, Chris. Thank you so much for having me on.